What is going on, everybody? Ryan Leary, William Tinkup here with another episode of The Barf. I like when you wave to me. I'm going to wave back to you today. So I'll just say it outright. I've got stains on my shirt. I just realized it. It is
If
what it
that's
is.
the worst thing that happens to you today, Ryan, you're living right. You're
Yeah,
living right.
I guess so.
Yep.
I mean, stains can be
Yeah, it
pretty.
depends on what type of stains.
It's
There's a gradient, a
There's a gradient.
scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what type of stain it is, but
Mhm.
it's a stain. So
No judgment.
whatever, man. What is going on?
It's been a good week. We're adding some shows. We're up to 42 shows on Worked Fine on the podcast network.
Yeah, we are.
Halfway to our goal of 100 for the end of the year. All is well. No complaints for me.
There we go.
Rare.
Anything big happen this weekend for you? Because I didn't have shit happen for me.
No. I was just doing a bunch of stuff around the house, doing stuff. Last week, yes, because I was doing a garage sale, which, by the way, we made over $3,600 for our troop at the garage sale.
What?
So, yeah, legit.
Garage sale.
A garage sale,
All right.
which is great because we also had Mission Arlington, kind of like Goodwill,
Uh-huh.
come after. And so they cleaned out everything else that wasn't taken.
They just took it with them.
They buy.
Best way to do. Are they
We
buying?
didn't even have to. Bye.
Oh, buy.
Um,
Got
we didn't have to load it. They had people, they had trailers, trucks, and they loaded it. We literally didn't have to do anything.
That's amazing. Send
Yes.
them my way.
100%. We're going to do it every year now. Now it's a bit.
Yeah.
It's like we can raise, Poinsettia Sales is our number one fundraiser for the troop, and it raises about 3,000. This one surpassed that, and there's no cost to it.
Right. Are you still selling like $10 things of popcorn and like $20 pizzas?
The Boy Scouts do that. Cub Scouts and Weebles do that a lot. The popcorn sales is a big fundraiser. Once they get into Boy Scouts, they're kind of tired of that. So you have to have other things, other types of fundraisers for them to get kind of excited about, especially with 15, 16-year-old kids.
I'm all about supporting the group. We do Girl Scout cookies here.
I've supported Girl Scout cookies since I can remember.
Yeah, but $10 for this little thing.
Oh, they get the smaller. My favorite's the mint.
Oh.
The thin mints. That's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
And it used to be like a sleeve, like this massive sleeve of
Yeah.
of
No, I
Thin
think
Mints.
there's 12 of them in there now.
Right.
Counted this year. Yeah. We didn't. You
Time's
know
out.
what? Whatever. We did not put an effort into it this year.
Yeah.
We sold what we had to sell. We did a couple of booths.
Right. In years past, y'all have killed it though.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort, but in the end, I mean, it's fun for the girls. But in the end, they're getting like whatever it is, like a quarter. No, it's not a quarter. It's like 80 cents or something like that, a box to the troop. There's other ways to earn money.
100%. Garage sale.
Yeah, I mean, you could teach them, it's good for sales, life skills, and that's great. Guess what? So is a garage sale when you're making, a lot more money and doing whatever.
I mean, on both cases, both Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, I like it because it teaches them sales. It teaches them that rejection and all that type of stuff, how to upsell and all that type of stuff. And with Henry never really liked any of that stuff. Like he would just wait for people to come and like, I want to buy this candle,
Fantastic.
Whereas
$20.
Van, dude, when we were at Ace Hardware selling candles and poinsettias, he'd meet people at their car doors when they parked. like people barely have their door open. It's like, hey, how you doing? We got some poinsettias, we got candles. Where you at? They haven't even gone into the store yet.
Did you open the jacket? Like,
dude, seriously. Like, I don't know. You know, it is. Your girls are different. Your boys are different. It's just, it's fascinating to watch.
I don't know, man. I'm over it.
Let me pitch you a couple stories. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, Ryan. You've seen the signs about Real ID, right? At the airport?
Yeah, I avoid them.
Yeah, good. The deadline for air travel with a Real ID is May 7th.
That's coming up.
In about a month from now.
Yeah.
So if you or your employees have business travel coming up, beware. The Real ID deadline for air travel is May 7th.
Yeah.
The Department of Motor Vehicles are slammed with appointments. This is from the Wall Street Journal. So, we've seen the signs for years now. I've recently
about a decade.
I've recently had my driver's license updated, and you just have to have a gold star in Texas. You have to have a gold star in the right-hand corner, and it's a real ID.
Mm. You can
So,
still use your passport, right?
yes, you can still use your passport. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm good.
Yes, with your
Good.
passport. But if you could show up to the airport and you don't have your passport and you don't your driver's license isn't a real ID, you don't travel.
Right. Just bring your passport. That's what I'm gonna do
Just bring your
because
passport.
I ain't getting the real ID before then, for sure. All right. You know a company called SAP? You
I
heard that?
do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they overtook Novo Nordisk as Europe's most valuable company. Check
Wow.
that out, right?
Good
So,
for them.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily tie to work, but
No, it
success
does.
factors, right? They kind of do. They're the OGs, and I figured you'd have some thoughts here. But 313 point 7 euros, so it's about 340 billion US dollars. Kind of mid range in the US, right? Because everyone else is all the trillions, and
Right,
you
right,
guys
right,
are
right,
still
right,
small.
right.
But it's a thing. They're now Europe's number one.
Well, and they SAP took a dip when cloud first came on the scene,
Mhm.
and because they were on premise for a lot of their stuff, and so they had to kind of figure out the cloud business. It's just nice to see them being rewarded for kind of basically reorganizing their business. They still have their on-prem stuff, but they've really gotten behind cloud. So good for them.
Yep.
I'm happy for them. Ryan, 84% of Gen Zers say that they stream series and movies while working remotely.
Yeah, it's about right.
I try not to laugh. Is at Axios.com, so you go look at it. So of course I did the RTO
Oh wait, hold
one
on. What's that guy? JP Morgan's calling. He said, "Get the fuck to work."
pretty much. RTO one, remote zero. So, the advice is, while true, some things should be admitted publicly, right? This was a survey. You didn't have to say this. It just gives more ammo to the RTO kingpins.
Yeah.
So,
You
uh,
know what? I I get distracted when I have TV or music. I know you run music all the time.
yeah, I can write while listening to music.
Yeah. Sometimes I can, but there's moments where I just wanna throw the speaker against the wall, and I
Yeah,
just have to stop, so but, that's just me. So,
84% is a big number.
it's a big number.
All right, so the next one is 69% of millennial workers want to work for employers with benefits that support building a family.
Mhm.
Kind of makes sense, right? The
Mhm.
Securian, SECURIAN.com. This is where this comes from. So last week, I talked about and I thought about gender-based benefits, and the menstrual cycle is the one that we talked about, and whether or not we
Mhm.
should load balance based on gender.
Mm.
And this story made me think about should we be load balancing based on generations? Well, so like you're looking at a benefits portfolio as a benefits manager or an HR leader, you're looking at, okay, what benefits do we serve up? And it's all the discretionary benefits, right? Well, the millennials wanting things that are going to help them facilitate their family growth,
Mhm.
that tracks. They're at that age. Well, boomers don't care about that particular benefit. So it's just one of those things that make me think of our benefits managers, are they looking at their audience or their employees and then figuring out the benefits that matter to them based on gender, based on generation, etc. So anyhow, big number, 70%.
Yep. Gotta
That's
do it.
legit.
Alright, you remember 11X?
I do.
We talked about 11X back in November,
Yep.
when they landed 50 million in funding. Well, turns out somebody didn't do their homework. Uh, they're not doing so well. And
Really?
turns out, from a couple dozen different sources familiar with the case, they have been lying about their
Oh,
customers and their customer base. Now, not the only thing. Check this out. Customer churn, 70 to 80%, it's estimated, of their
oh,
early customers discontinued services after their initial trials.
that's not good.
No, that is not
That's not
good at
good.
all. And these
That's
are
not
like
good.
major investors. These aren't like your run of the mill investors that got
Right.
behind these guys. You say transparency is king, and this is This is
Yeah.
the moment, right? Transparency and actual performance still matters, turns out, but that's a lot, man.
It's a lot. Well, what's it's going to impact is funding. Going to do more due diligence on the sales conversions,
Mhm.
both those from zero to trial and from trial to a full contract, etc. And so they need to do that, by the way, like legit sales pipeline conversion analytics and due diligence. Now, this is just one of those stories that's going to feed that. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
listen, we don't want to
absolutely.
get burned like other investments did with 11x. So hopefully they can turn it around.
Yeah, we don't wanna, I mean, unless they're just scamming and jamming everybody, then
Right.
screw
No,
'em, but, you have bad product, you're not doing good perform got it, that happens.
happens.
You can make things better, unless you're just,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
playing charades here,
Bad
then there's a
actors
way to
do
go
bad
down.
things. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, getting back into benefits. The latest niche workplace benefit, helping workers get a mortgage, especially first-time homebuyers. You and I briefly talked about this last week about a benefit that would really be helpful in financial kind of wellness. And so, how do you help people get their first house? Well, so I, to me, I think this is a great perk or benefit to balance out RTO. Now, I'll make fun of it at the same time. Come into the office and we'll help you buy your first house, which you can't work in remotely.
But you can
All
cut the
kidding.
grass when you get home.
100%. You got a bunch of work that you need to do. You got to clean the gutters. But the thing is like it's legit a good idea to have this as a benefit
Yeah,
for those again first time home buyers,
yeah.
helping them get the mortgages and getting a lower mortgage, helping them understand the financial implications.
Yeah, well, I never
Love all
had
that.
any of this go, and
Oh,
neither of you. Yeah. I mean,
oh,
and it would have been, I mean, I can hear my parents yapping in my ear,
yep,
"Go work here because they help you pay back for college. They're
right.
gonna help you with reimbursement." And that was like the big thing
That was a
then.
big thing. Tuition
This is
reimbursement.
yeah, I would tell my kids to go work there if they were gonna help you get a house. Now, what is help, right? Like, they're not giving you a house, they're not giving you money. They're helping you with,
Right,
access and all that stuff. So,
right.
love it. Get it. Alright. IBM, my old stomping grounds.
Try it.
Yeah, I love talking about IBM. They're facing a reverse discrimination lawsuit,
Reverse
um,
discrimination.
yeah,
Okay.
from a former white male employee. So this is an interesting one because this isn't just somebody jumping in and saying, "Oh, well, I'm a white male, you're discriminating against me." The structure, the lawsuit, if you go through and read, parts of the lawsuit, the
Right,
structure of the manager's incentives. So the executives are incentivized
right,
for hiring diverse and meeting certain diversity goals. And so they are well, say they are, in this case, they were, and they did let go of this guy. And I think there's a couple of others that are part of this. Um, they let go of them for performance when they were a top performer within particular groups.
wow,
Yeah, through performance reviews and all that. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to the story we'll never know.
that's
But
horrible.
yeah,
I think the thing is it's also a limited definition of diversity. So some of
oh,
this, you could
absolutely.
be a white male, but you could come from a socioeconomic group that's lower or higher. You could go to a different college. There's so many different ways neurodiverse. There's so many different ways to look at diversity. I think historically we've looked at it as gender and race, and
Well, and
that's
that
diversity.
I think that's how the majority of people hired. They're not experts. I get it, but it's
Right.
the company's fault, not well, I should say not the individual.
If they're
They may just not be
incentivizing
educated.
executives based on gender and race and not a broader aperture of diversity, yeah, they should get penalized.
Yeah, and they will.
Ryan, mentions of DEI on Glassdoor increased 259% year over year between January 1st, 24, February 18th, 25. This on Glassdoor. It's their blog. And again, is this outrage about DEI?
Hmm.
Is this false outrage? Is it the new normal since the election? I don't know. But it did make me think about candidate boycotting work to change businesses that have abandoned DEI policies and programs. Like I think back to 80, I think it was 85, 86 when Coca-Cola, there was Coca-Cola was operating in South Africa during apartheid. and basically people said, "Stop drinking Coke," and people stopped drinking Coke. It puts so much pressure on Coke. They're like, "We're out," and it actually did change things. And it was apartheid was horrible, regardless.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but it's the same thing. Can 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 candidates band together to actually change things at a company in terms of DEI?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think there's enough power nor volume of candidates
They'd
to
have
say
to
yeah.
they'd have to form a coalition and
Yeah, yeah,
boycott.
well, what changes this is hurting the pocketbook, and the candidate's
Yeah.
not gonna I mean, there could be arguments made
Consumers,
for
maybe.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there could be arguments made for it, but I mean, that's a massive undertaking.
I know. I know.
Consumer boycott's much easier to hit
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pocketbook,
yeah,
call it a
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna
Yeah,
stop buying your stuff. Okay. Well,
yeah,
maybe we'll change our policy on that.
yeah, yeah, well, then they don't have to, and then eventually it hits the pocketbook, and they're like, "Hmm, okay, yeah,
While at Glassdoor's blog, they've got great stuff there. I haven't been there in a long time.
yeah." They've
Lots of
always had
cool,
good stuff.
lots of cool content there.
Yeah.
So definitely go check that out.
All right, ChatGPT just got an infusion of smart, baby.
Okay.
So they can now, with the different, there's a enterprise version, but
Right.
they can now tap into your internal files. Right now, it's just Google Drive for the
Right.
company, but
Right.
you can attach that to ChatGPT, and it begins to learn your models at work. So
Oh,
it'll
interesting.
respond in your language, understand your project names, the acronyms in the company, team specific terms, things like that. But it's a model that they're going to expand on. And
Oh, I
so,
love that.
yeah, there's a
That's the
product
enterprise version. That's not the pro version. That's the next
no, that's the
level.
enterprise version. Yeah. And
Huh.
there's one of the product guys, lead engineer, posted about it. And I happened to see that. So I went and looked it up. And it's pretty
That's
neat. They're
cool.
excited about it. Yeah. They'll be attaching a whole bunch of different things.
The more it
Got me
knows,
thinking,
the better it gets.
yeah, I wonder if we can get access for us and make
I'd
us
like that.
smarter.
I'd
Yeah,
like
put it
that.
in our own stuff. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
All
So there
right.
you go.
So, last story for this show is Amazon will resume screening warehouse employees for theft and requiring that they register their personal cell phones for the first time since the start of the pandemic. This is on Bloomberg, so you can go read the story. I don't hate this personally at all. Employee theft in retail, it's called shrinkage, not
Yeah.
Seinfeld shrinkage, but
Mhm.
shrinkage. It directly impacts the costs that are passed on to consumers. So employee theft, it's not like a hidden crime. It actually it impacts us. So I'm when I read the story, I'm like I'm shocked that they actually moved away from it.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just they need to hire faster or more, or like they
Yeah.
just basically got away from it because they needed people. But
What's the registering phones for?
so they can background checks, and also so that they can get in touch with them in case
Mm,
something happens right away.
got it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
they should always monitor for theft. I mean, that's
hundred
just
percent.
I don't want to pay more for shit.
No, no, I don't need that in my life.
No. All right. I got a good research one for us today. We'll jump into some research. So
Sounds good.
businesses, this is going to be interesting. I'll get your take on.
Okay,
Businesses evaluate AI systems using human-like criteria. So I found this on VentureBeat, and what they're saying is that businesses are starting to judge AI just like they judge people.
interesting.
They expect the AI to be helpful. They expect it to be likable, emotionally present and intelligent, right? Not just
Huh,
accurate, but like actually care and do things. And I'm
interesting.
like, yeah, it's like a human like expectation. And it's like, okay, it every AI tool that we've spoken with said it's not that way. It doesn't happen that way. Although I don't necessarily agree with that because as it's learning, I mean, tools that I use, as it learns me, it
Right.
talks like me. It
Yeah.
regurgitates me, right?
Yeah.
And it
It's
also,
mimicking your behaviors.
yeah, and it also contrasts me on certain issues and says, "Hey, look, here's my opinion." Like, okay, that's cool. Whether it's right or not, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's an opinion, not an emotion.
No, but and right. And so is emotion Are they
Y-
judging emotion by the way that it talks? Because mine will actually talk back to me like I talk to it, right?
Right.
It'll use slang. It'll do all of
Right.
that.
Right.
I don't necessarily feel like that's emotion.
No, it's mimicking your behavior.
Yeah.
It's you're
Yeah.
showing it, it's showing you. It's
So,
just mimicking. It's a mirror.
so how do you judge it on emotion?
You shouldn't judge robots on emotion. They
Uh,
don't have emotions.
yeah. I don't want them to have emotion.
I
I want
don't
them to be
either.
a robot. That's why I hired them.
I want accuracy. If
Yeah.
you if you're talking about emotions, I think we're talking about something that's more futuristic or dystopian than that's really what's needed. It's accuracy. Is it accurate? Great, fantastic.
Yeah. I think part of the efficiency of bringing in AI like this is the lack of emotion and the lack of
Right,
having to deal with the emotion
right,
of an actual employee.
right. I
You know,
yeah, I can manage AI. I'm not great at managing employees because I
yeah.
lack empathy.
Actually, you can talk to AI just like you talk to employees, but they'll respond better. And I
100%. I won't
because
get in trouble. There'll be
you
no
won't get
legal
in trouble
issues.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Pay gains slowed March. Year over year pay gains slowed to 4.6% for job stayers and 6.5% for job changers. The pay premium for job changers was about 1.9 percentage points, matching a series low seen last September. This is on the all important ADP employment report.com. So you can go there and then you can kind of look at your industry, size of company, and you can kind of see all those things are. What this particular story got me to think about is how the April numbers, if they'll be impacted by the tariff. I mean, we already seen the stock market do all kinds of crazy
Mhm.
stuff with the stock market, but will it impact jobs? And I don't have a great answer on will it or won't it, but I want to see. Now I'm interested in the April jobs report
Yeah.
just to see if there's change there.
Well, this is being recorded, but I'm gonna clip this portion. So the next time you say, I don't give a shit about the jobs report, I'm gonna
I,
throw this at you.
I care about the tariffs. I don't care about jobs actually. I care about will a policy around tariffs
Mm,
impact jobs? That's
that's
what I care about. Whether or not it
the
impacts
question.
jobs up or down, I'm not sure. Does it make things better because we're building businesses here in America to make up for the businesses that we're not going to use in China and Mexico? Or does it close off businesses from hiring because they're having to deal with less revenue or other scenarios that I'm not
Yeah,
thinking
I
about?
mean, I think we'll see in April. I think we'll start to see a healthy mix of each
We'll
kind
see.
of play out.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
there you go.
All right. The Federal Judicial Center survey recently
Okay.
came out and was taking a look at that. One third of US judiciary, I can't say judiciary, maybe,
Hmm.
employees say they've experienced inappropriate behavior at work. Now, okay, this happens at every job. Get it.
Yeah, but you'd think in a legal profession,
It wouldn't be, especially, yeah. So
that's
here,
33%. Why
yeah,
that number should not be that high.
yeah. So 34% said like offensive stuff, like offensive jokes, rude comments,
Right, right,
things
right.
like that, right? Like things that you maybe goes borderline, like, oh, you're just
Yeah,
too
yeah,
sensitive type thing.
right.
8.3% said they experienced serious issues. However, they grouped it all under wrongful misconduct. Now,
Yeah,
now maybe this is the legal term around, I don't know.
right.
Here's what's under wrongful misconduct: discriminatory harassment, sexual harassment, and
Oh,
employment discrimination. Wrongful misconduct. That's what kind of made me pull this out. It kind of bothered me, but I'm like, why are we just pushing this aside? It's not. Oh, I guess it is, but is that how we actually classify this wrongful
yeah.
misconduct? And just gets lumped in. They didn't even list it out. It just said wrongful misconduct. It didn't say anything about the sexual harassment or anything. You had to go
Yeah, and
actually
in
look
a
for it.
study, you'd like to see both of those broken out.
Yeah.
The unprofessional behavior, 34.7%, you'd like to see what made up those things
Yeah.
by percentage points, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing for wrongful misconduct at
Mhm.
8.3%. Again, doesn't seem like a high number. However, the things that are under it are not trivial.
No, they're
Not
not trivial, and
not
if you have 40,000 employees, I don't know how many there are, say 40,000 employees,
10% of that's 4,000 people.
that's a lot of people experiencing
That
wrongful
type of
misconduct.
that's legit. I mean,
Right.
all of it's legit. I mean, again,
Yeah,
if a person feels uncomfortable at work for a
yeah,
reason that another employee does, you got to take it seriously.
yeah, yep,
And it's the whole thing is weird to me because it's in the legal profession, which
yeah,
you would think would be on top of these
yeah.
things.
Now,
Like,
I should say this wasn't the majority of this was from managers,
right,
not the judges,
right,
not
right, 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 right,
those
right, right.
in those
These are
positions. Yeah,
ancillary.
I
Yeah.
skipped over. I should not have skipped over that,
No,
but
no, no,
yeah,
no. Franklin Templeton's Voice of American Workforce Survey tackles talent retention, sustaining a competitive edge, and meeting employees' needs. Now, this is at Franklin Templeton. You can go take a look at .com. You can go take a look at the study. We've seen it a couple times. It's always
mhm,
good. So 4 things from this survey. Let me read all of them, and then you tell me what you think is the craziest.
okay,
70% of employees state that financial security, having enough money to live comfortably for the rest of their lives, is critically important. 88% of employers report that employees are willing to leave their jobs if dissatisfied, even without clear alternatives. 90% of employees now view retirement planning as a collaborative effort with their employees. And the last one, 60%, 59% of employees admit that they don't understand or maximize their company benefits. Those are all facts. Those come from the survey. I'm going to say facts. Those come from a
mhm,
survey. Those are the results. Which
okay.
of those is the craziest to you?
I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna go with 90% of employers view retirement planning as collaborative.
That's the one that I keyed in on. I'm like, because when I read
Yeah.
it, I thought I read it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, employees view this. No, employers view that this is a collaboration.
Yeah.
This is a collaborative effort around, retirement planning. And it's like, that's just,
Yeah.
I've
I
never
think
seen a company think of that as
it's just all
collaboration.
of those numbers seem very high to me, regardless of what it is. When you get 90% of something in a survey, it's not a
100%.
very, you didn't pull your panels very well.
88% of employees willing to leave their job if dissatisfied, even if they don't have a clear alternative. Like,
Yeah, that's
are you
bullshit.
kidding me?
No,
No, of course
that's
not.
macho talk right there.
Seems like it.
In
Seems like
practice, that's like 5% because that ain't happening. Mm,
not if you have a family.
yeah, no,
I mean, if
100%.
you're 21 and you're going from Taco Bell and you're leaving, all right, well, yeah, I can see you leaving without a safety net.
I guess. I mean, I'm not leaving unless I don't care what people say, leave if you're not happy. If I ain't got a paycheck, I can't
No,
go.
100%. That would make me less happy.
Home Depot's not paying my bills, let me just tell you.
Never.
Mm. No, and I live modest. I live modest,
Me
and
too.
it ain't paying the bills. So
Yep.
anyway, we got some dollars and cents
Let's
to
do it.
talk about.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Merit Health. That's
Yeah.
Marit Health launches groundbreaking community powered platform for salary transparency in medicine. They raised 3.2 million. This is
Mhm.
on PR Newswire, so you can kind of look up that. It's anonymous and self-reported comp data for the healthcare industry. Isn't a bad thing, right? This is not a bad thing. It's probably going to take a couple of years to get the data right and efficient based on location and all that other
Mhm.
stuff. But I love this. I love anytime you can get good comp data to understand kind of where you are in the market. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So good for them. Great funding. Fantastic.
I love it. I like the idea. I'm always kind of leery about user submitted, right?
I know. I know.
However,
I caught a fish this big.
you got yeah, I've got plenty of those. Guys, you listen, you've got to go to MeritHealth.com and look at their salaries. I know physicians make money.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some here. Neurosurgeon, 925K. Yeah,
But here's the
radiologist
deal.
for breast imaging, 650.
The only thing is look at their insurance that they have to cover on themselves.
Well, yeah, there's a lot there, but that said,
It's a big number.
they can afford it too.
Yeah, no, no,
I
no. I
mean,
know.
let's
I'm
be
not
real.
crying for them. Don't
They can
worry.
afford it.
I'm not crying.
I when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, let me go check this out." And I went and looked, and I was like, "Damn!" It's like, yeah,
Doesn't
podcasting, maybe, yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
suck. Let's go back to med school. It'll only
yeah.
take 12 years, and then we can.
No, on a 100% deserve it because You don't want me as your neurosurgeon.
No, nor I.
Mm-mm. No.
Ryan Ribbon raises
Yeah.
8 million to transform hiring with AI-powered voice interviews.
Yeah. Cool little recruiting play.
Yeah, really, really, really interesting. Ribbon, RIBBON.ai. Go take a look at the website. It's pretty cool. That's where I looked at the press release. So I love to say everyone gets a voice interview or screening call. I like it. It's cool. I like the name and the
Hmm.
approach. Lets candidates immediately know if they're right for the job and the next steps, all this type of stuff. So I'm cool. I mean, first of all, I love
Yeah.
investing in recruiting, and this one's trying to solve kind of a bespoke. Don't apply. Like, don't even waste your time filling out a form or doing any of this other stuff. Let's just do
Yeah.
this voice interview. Let's find out if
Yeah.
this is even the right thing for you, and it's all going to be AI.
Yeah, I want to get hold of these guys. I want to check them out because I love what Higher Logic does. I
Yeah.
love everything about them, and I want to see where this falls in relation to them and what they're doing. So,
Right.
get to check them out.
All right, next one is Ropes. Cool name. AI driven platform transforming how engineering talent is evaluated. They announced that they raised 3.1 million. This is finance.yahoo. So you go take a look at that. Skills based hiring for the win. I believe, and I know you believe the same thing, that we're going to see more and more of these type of
Mhm.
industry specific. I mean, we just talked about one comp and medicine.
Yep.
We've talked the last week about, platform play and construction. Now we're talking about, engineering talent and how they're going to do skills based assessments. So if you're a civil engineer, great, you graduated 20 years ago. What's your skills today? Like, what do we have today?
Right.
So, ribbon.
There you go.
Okay, let's see what we got. Epsor, that's EPSOR, those grading at home, 24.4 million to become a market leader in the employee and retirement savings plans industry or space.
In
This is on,
collaboration with all their
yeah,
employees.
I like how you did that. That's nice. This is on partechpartners.com. You can read kind of their presser. It's a nice, obviously, 25 million dollars, decent round,
Yeah.
more than a decent round. But I like, out of all of the stuff that we do, I like seeing things when they're kind of off center from the stuff that we normally like. We're in a sea of AI funding.
Hmm.
Like, pretty much you and I could just talk about AI funding, not just in our space, but in general. We could spend hours just talking about that. The fact that now we're talking about a retirement savings and
Right.
employee savings, I like that. Now, will it be AI infused? Yeah, probably, but that's
Yeah.
not how they're leading. That's not how they're kind of coming about it. So good for them. Um, it was listed in pounds as dollars, so I'm assuming it's a British based
Yeah.
investment, but good for them.
Yeah, I want and I know these exist. I haven't gotten into them, but I really want an AI infused retirement planning platform that I can just talk to. I want to talk
That
to
would
it.
be cool.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to a human. I just want to talk on my own time. I'm driving in the car. I want to talk and ask a question.
Right.
I hear something on the radio that triggers a thought.
Yeah.
I want to ask, but know that it's tied to
Right.
a retirement company, a benefits company that actually manages, the
Yeah.
information I'm getting back. It's not
Well,
just
it
a
also
random
knows
one.
your portfolio and your risk tolerance and
Exactly.
all the cash
Exactly.
flow and all that type of stuff. So I
Yeah.
can see that happening. I can actually see someone building that already that
Yeah.
knows your banking information, your savings, all that stuff, all of your investments historically
Yeah.
to then understand, okay, where are you at right now?
Yeah.
Because typically it's the pyramid of when you're younger, you're willing to take on more risk. And as you get older, you take on less risk for more guaranteed returns.
Right.
It's kind of the
Yeah.
general pyramid
Hmm.
that goes on. But some people break that pyramid. They're
Yeah.
like, fuck it, I'm 60. I'll
Yeah.
drop 20,000 on an investment. If it doesn't work out, it
Yeah.
doesn't work out.
It's a space that's interesting because historically you have to be a high net worth
Right.
individual to
Right.
get a really knowledgeable and solid financial planner.
Right.
Right. So and you're gonna pay
They're
money.
called wealth managers, but
Wealth
yes.
managers, right, 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 yes, wealth managers. However, the field can be leveled here. It can be leveled here, right?
AI can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you get the right team behind this. it can really make a difference for
Oh, love it.
people in the middle class. So, anyhow, that's it, man. We did it. We
We
blazed
barfed.
through it. All good. Thank you all for listening, watching, and we'll see you next time.